Hi friends, it's Kristine Vicenti with Queen City Stamp Art, and I'm back again this week with another clean and simple Sunday card. This one is going to highlight a variety of products, including the Words of Cheer stamp set. So this one, I'm going to be using this really pretty script sentiment. We're also going to be using the Stitched Snowflake dies, which are part of a separate bundle, but I'm just using the dies today. So we're going to use a couple of these beautiful stitched snowflakes, and they do have a lovely stitched detail. I'm not sure if that shows on camera, but there's some beautiful stitching on these that you can see that is just such a great detail. We're going to be using a panel. We're going to run a panel of cardstock through the embossing cut and die machine from the Wintery 3D embossing folder set. So there's one that has like a pine sprig and then another one that has some snowflakes. And so I ran my little cardstock panel through the snowflakes so that it has a nice texture to it. It's a nice subtle detail for the card. And then we're also going to be using some baker's twine from the Essentials pack and some Rhinestone basic jewels that I haven't actually used in a while. So I thought that would be fun. So let me pull in the materials and we'll get started on our card. So I already embossed this panel and I die cut the snowflakes off camera. We're going to use a base card that measures 11 by 4 1/4 in shaded spruce. And I'm just going to fold that in half. And then we're going to take and put a panel of white on the inside. This is just basic white. And I will add an interior sentiment to this card before I send it. I'm just going to layer that in there. And then we're going to add this embossed panel to the front of the card with a little bit of tape runner. So this panel will just be glued down flat. And I'm just centering it top to bottom and side to side, like that. And then we're going to add these beautiful snowflakes to the front as well. So I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back of these. I like when the edges stick up a little bit, so I don't mind that the whole thing isn't glued down flat because I think it looks more interesting if the edges lift a bit. And then I'll put one over here. So these two are added to the card. Now we'll do a little bit of stamping. I'm just going to stamp the sentiment on here in Poppy Parade ink. I think this is kind of a fun and whimsical color scheme. Just like that. And then I'm going to take my tailored tag punch and I'm going to cut some little fishtail banner ends into the end of this, each end of this sentiment. This works so good for this. I love it. And then we're going to pop this up onto the card front. But before we do, I wanted to add some baker's twine. Now I could add some white twine, but I wanted to make the twine Poppy Parade. When I was designing this card, I was thinking, I wish I had some Poppy Parade baker's twine. And I actually do, because I can use a blends marker to color this twine. So I'm going to cut a piece of twine with my scissors. And I've got a little piece of scrap cardstock from when I cut the snowflake out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the brush end of my marker and I'm going to just lay this onto the twine, and I'm just going to pull the twine through the marker and color it myself. And I'll probably do this a couple of times just to make sure the twine is fully covered with color, because the first time you run it through, it's a little bit spotty. But this is a good little trick to remember, because our blends markers will they'll color in any white ribbon and or even light colored ribbon. I've seen people use other lighter colors and use their blend markers to color them in to get the desired color they're looking for. This is a tiny bit messy. I notice I'm getting some on my fingers, but it will wash off. And this is a great way to use what you have and be able to kind of customize it for whatever your project is. All right, so that's good. So now I'm going to put my cover back on here. And, oh boy, I did get covered in ink. That's okay. We're going to use this little piece of twine on our project now. So I'm going to bring my project in, and I'm going to put down a little bit of adhesive. And then I'm going to lay the tail of my twine right there. And I'm just going to kind of swirl this around to create a little circle of twine like that. And then I'm going to add some dimensional adhesive to the back of the sentiment. Just like this. And then add this to the card base. And that really kind of pulls in the red. I love how that looks. Then I'm going to finish this card with a few of these beautiful clear sequins. And you can actually color the sequins in too with the blends the jewels in with the blends marker if you wanted, which is a fun way to make custom jewels as well. I like them clear for this particular card. There we go. I just added a few extra ones. And that's the card for today. So the original sample that I did has the white twine, but I think by bringing in the Poppy Parade twine, it really adds a whole nother layer of interest. So you decide which is your favorite, and keep this in mind as a little trick for coloring twine. I hope you enjoyed the card today, and I'll see you next week.